we will start with the coaching carousel here. Now, we're settling into the meat of the pigskin calendar. We're now into October. It's going to get exciting, and then even more exciting in November. And then down the stretch we come before the playoffs, and that's in the month of December. And while all the craziness goes on the field, the chatter gets picked up. Now, those of us that do this for a living behind these microphones love the chatter. It's being picked up around the game of musical chairs. And specifically, for the purposes of this MALLER monologue, we're going to talk about a report involving the University of Southern California and Colorado. Now, if you didn't hear, maybe not, they played each other. You probably knew about that. And Buffalo's coach, Deion Sanders, and the man of Troy, Lincoln Riley, will both be getting contacted by headhunters from the NFL. And probably soon. Hey, how would you like to coach the Atlanta Falcons? Hey, how would you like to be in the Windy City coming December? Now, that's according to Pigskin Grand Poobah Peter King. He passes on that Lincoln Riley has been on the NFL's radar since he was back at Boomer Sooner back in the day. And Deion is the flavor of the month, becoming a cult hero out of the Rocky Mountains and television gold. And all those aristocrat owners, when they go to their cocktail parties on Long Island, out in the Hamptons, and when they go to South Beach and Beverly Hills, everyone's talking about Deion Sanders. I think we should hire Deion Sanders to coach our team. So let us discuss the question. We're going to keep this simple. Toss-up question. You can only pick one. More likely to leave college football sooner for the NFL, Lincoln Riley or Deion Sanders? You can only pick one. Only one. The arrow is pointing towards Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley. Ding, 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 ding. I've got bundle pricing and creamy rice pudding plus Evel Knievel. And we will combine all of these things together and we'll flub-a-dub-dub is what we're going to do. So, number one. Number one. Okay. All right. Ultimately, they'll both coach in the NFL, but that's not the question, right? The question is who is more likely to leave college football sooner. That would be Lincoln Riley. He's done a good job of reestablishing the rotting carcass of the University of Southern California football program, putting it back on the map after some dark years once Pete Carroll skedaddled off to the great Pacific Northwest to coach the Seahawks. But even with that, if you watched SC play the last couple of years, while their offense is top-notch, they have no defense. No defense. Ole, 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 ole. It's El Matador defense. Now, Riley is just passing through Tinseltown. He's a small-town kid from a sleepy spot in West Texas and learned from my favorite college football coach of all time, the late, great Mike Leach. That was who taught Lincoln Riley how to coach offensive football. So he's a disciple of the great Mike Leach, but he's a coaching gypsy. And he's passing through Los Angeles, living a well-compensated life as a military brat with a lot of money. And looking into the crystal ball, as a distant relative of Nostradamus, and I was a friend of Nostradamus until I said something nasty about the Seahawks, we see the SC defense crumbling yet again down the stretch. Down the stretch they go. But here's the big picture. If you were to take a snapshot of this moment, there's a kind of a big deal at quarterback named Caleb Williams of SC, and he is headed to the NFL, and he is headed to the very top of the NFL's draft. So that is the perfect time for Caleb Williams to take his head coach with him, Lincoln Riley, and say, hey, Lincoln, you get a piggyback ride. Piggyback, piggyback, piggyback. Not baby back, piggyback ride. And I'm talking bundle pricing. Chicago Bears, you have the number one pick. You get the 2-for-1 special. Not only do you get Caleb Williams, uber talented SC quarterback, but you don't have a coach. So we'll hire Lincoln Riley to come to Chicago. Now, as for Deion Sanders, eventually Temptation Island will be too much, and God will tell him to go to the NFL, just like God told him to go here, there, and everywhere, and he'll go to the pro game. However, Riley gets the jump on him. And I could also see Deion, before he goes to the NFL, doing a stint, a tour of duty at some Southeastern Conference outpost, or dare I say, a Big Ten school where those will be the only two conferences left starting next year that matter in college sports. The Southeastern Conference of the Big Ten, everyone else will be also ranked. Now, secondly, we head now to television land. We had our faux controversy of the week involving Rodney Harrison, the expatriate. Total internet controversy. So Rodney Harrison moonlights at NBC, which I occasionally moonlight as well. Rodney came under fire for disparaging comments he made about quarterback Zach Wilson of the Jets. This happened on Sunday after the Chiefs-Jets game, and apparently he has had somebody tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, you got to clean this up. Because Robert Saleh, the coach of the Jets, indicated to the media that Harrison, the former NFL player, most penalized player in NFL history, apologized to Zach Wilson for his remarks. Now, Harrison was attacked because he was critical of Zach Wilson. And he was interviewing Chris Jones, the defensive tackle from the Chiefs, and appeared to try to bait Chris Jones into saying something negative about Zach Wilson. At least that's the perception, right? That's the perception. So what do you make of the outrage over Rodney Harrison's comments about Zach Wilson? So the reaction and Rodney Harrison's apology, the whole thing was emasculating. It was embarrassing, including Micah Parsons of the Cowboys, who went on a rant complaining, I don't understand the media. Now, the good thing is that Rodney Harrison's an ex-jock. See, if Harrison had not been an ex-jock and been a former sports writer or gas bag like yours truly, it would have been, you never played the game. We need people that played the game. But he played the game, so you can't use that trope about Rodney Harrison because he actually played in the NFL for a long time. Remember when I was at San Diego and he was playing for the Chargers, and they weren't very good, but Rodney was always playing touchy-feely at the bottom of the pile there, and players would be screaming and shouting and the whole thing. But his commentary here, this is going to blow you away here. Zach Wilson has not only been a quarterback, he's been horrible with the Jets, and he had a good stat sheet game. Whee! Woo! Yeah, rah-rah! He had a good stat sheet game, but he did fumble the game away against the Chiefs. And so Rodney Harrison is really working as a bloodhound, smelling the bull crap that many of these NFL players, he knows he was one, these players say about, oh, Zach Wilson's so good. The funniest was when one of the Chiefs players in the lead up to the game, one of the linebackers for the Chiefs was asked about how they slow down Zach Wilson and the NFL, what had been the NFL's worst passing game, and he started laughing. And then he had to clean that up. But the whole reaction to Rodney Harrison and the panties in a bunch from the football community, it is the epitome of the creamy rice pudding that this group of NFL players and some fans, sadly, become Mr. Softy personified, although it is my belief that this is only in the social media world, because when I go to games, when I meet fans at events that we do, the people that I come across like that kind of commentary, like Rodney Harrison was throwing out. It's just a bunch of people hiding behind their smartphones and the bots and the algorithms that seem to have a problem with it. But like real people that aren't like hiding behind screens, that actually live their life, they like that kind of commentary. I can understand why the players wouldn't like it. The players, many of these players are so lost out at sea, they think the media is on their payroll. They think these people are part of whatever team they're playing for, and that they're supposed to be cheerleaders for the team. It's fascinating. All right, last stop. We go to L.A. Brandon Staley is under siege. He's in his third season at the helm. Should have been fired after last season. And once again, he is putting the Chargers behind the proverbial 8-ball. It happened again against the Raiders. We talked about it briefly in a previous episode, but had a 7-point lead, 3.5 minutes to go. in the game, Brandon Staley decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for it on 4th down and 1 from our own 34-yard line. Instead of punting it away, the Raiders starting a unexperienced quarterback, shall we say. So Justin Herbert wound up getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Chargers turned the ball over on downs. Now, it worked out because Aiden O'Connell, that's the aforementioned Raider quarterback that doesn't know what he's doing, he threw an interception on 1st and goal to go there, and that sealed the win for the Bolts. But this is now the second time in as many weeks that the Chargers head coach has done something to kill his team and live to talk about it, right? Very similar situation. It was week 3 in Minneapolis, beautiful downtown Minneapolis. The Vikings, it was 4th and 1, less than 2 minutes to go in the game from their own 24-yard line. And they were down, or leading by 4 at that point. They decided to go for it and did not get that down, turned it over on downs there. The Vikings screwed it up, as they often do, and the Chargers survived that. Now, this comes from Peter King as well, an NFL executive texting him saying, quote, "For such a smart guy, he sure does some dumb things," close quote, about the Chargers coach. So how are things going right now for Brandon Staley with the Chargers? So on the surface, they've won a couple games in a row, but he is obviously flying by the seat of his pants. He should have been fired from the Chargers after the AFC playoff game against Jacksonville. My theory on this is that Brandon Staley realizes that he's on borrowed time anyway. So he is going full Evel Knievel. He's doing ramp-to-ramp motorcycle jumps. He's working as a daredevil. He figures, hey, I'm on borrowed time. I'm going to do it my way, and all the decorum of coaching, all the social norms of coaching, like you don't put yourself in a bad spot there and go for it on 4th and 1 with less than 2 minutes to go at your own 24-yard line. You do not go for it on 4th and 1 from your own 34-yard line. And he does all those things because he's like, I don't know, I'm going to get fired anyway, so I might as well just do it my way. Plus, I'll get hired as like the analytical coach of the year by, I'll get that award. Somebody else will hire me somewhere down the line.